Hermes, you're in front of my screen again, you know? I have to be able to see my screen, you goofball. I'm gonna get you something to sit on. There, that's better, huh? You like that, huh? So that's that second low right there with the sharp drop and then a big move out of it. A lot going on right there. But you can see we got this drop and then this pop right back. A drop and pop. Rather than a pop and drop, a drop and pop. But highs towards the end of the day. What is this? 120? So we'll likely have well, matter of fact, this could be the disappointment. Probably not. I think probably what we're gonna see here. We got 30 minutes left. This might have actually been. This looks like this is the disappointment card. With 30 minutes left, this looks like disappointment. So usually there's more establishment of support than that. Like you have a little bit more of like an establishment there of support, but that is technically establishment of support. So what happens is with the disappointment card right here at the end, with the disappointment card, what you see usually prior to the disappointment card is a failed attempt to break through key resistance, followed by a decline to establish support, followed by the disappointment card, which is another attempt at that failed resistance after establishing support. Another attempt to failed attempt to break through that resistance, and then we break down through the established support, and you can see we're kind of like headed in that direction right now. So this might have been the high right here already for the day. These are pretty bearish cards, these two cards in combo, the last hour card and the close card. However, then you've got the Valor card, which is actually pretty bullish. Hey, Conrad. Glad to see you, my man. Yeah, so my sense is that we probably have a low on the 10th based on the fact that we've gone lower than this third and fourth. The trough that we had on the third and fourth would, through deduction, indicate that we have a lower price level. That kind of confirms a lower price level here because we're already lower than these price levels. So low on the 10th, or like on the cusp of the 9th, 10th most likely. So probably going to be a little bit different now based on that. I was looking at Meta. Obviously, it follows the market pretty close, but I want to see how much. Yeah, see, there's a much different kind of thing going on there. That looks more accurate to me. Yeah, I saw that. Hey, Mark, how you doing, my man? I saw that in the account, which all I have in there is space. So I noticed right away. E-Trade just got slow. It was doing so well, and we got a low here around 10:30, a low around the 10 to 11 mark. We had another low. What is this? About 2 o'clock. Just a little bit after 2. So that's pretty solid, and then we should see highs here. We had a high in the pre-market, We should see highs here at the end of the day. That may have been, if I could get this thing to like actually speed up so I could look at what I need to look at, that would be helpful. But right now, E-Trade's failing me again. I was excited about these upgrades to their charts because it seemed like everything's working so much faster now, but here we go again. Good old E-Trade during Mercury retrograde. What they should do is hire an astrologer. They would probably change their entire business. In any case, so failed attempt to break through key resistance after establishing support. Not exactly establishing support, but you could say that it's kind of following a similar pattern. This failed attempt, right? We're talking about the disappointment card here at the end of the day. The disappointment card usually is preceded by a failed attempt to break through key resistance, and then a decline to support, where we falsely establish support, and then there's another move back to that resistance. That's the disappointment card, is when we come back and we retest that resistance, and it looks like we're going to break through, but instead we turn around and we decline through support. And it looks like that's what's taking place there, and then we should have volatility into the close with a sharp drop somewhere maybe right after the close based on this ruin. There's a trade opportunity here at the close. We'll probably see like a... Man, I wish this thing would move faster so I could like verify what I'm thinking before I say it, but the chart's like so annoying. Sorry guys. Nothing I can do about E-Trade's ridiculous Mercury retrograde problems. Right, so this was a trade here at 2 o'clock in the midst of a decline that ended with a fast sudden move higher, taking us to a failed attempt to break through key resistance, followed by a decline through key support. So we should see... Got about 20 minutes. Either this right here was an opportunity to close out of a long position that was opened here, or we see an opportunity coming up. But it's kind of tricky because we go from like this failed attempt to break through resistance, which we might still see. It's possible we could still see it based on the way that this is progressing, right? We have a failed attempt at resistance. We establish support. This looks a lot more like establishment of support than this does, if you ask me. This is more like a drop. This is an establishment. So if we do see move to the upside, what we'll see is a failed attempt to break through this resistance here and then a decline through this support here. Otherwise, we've already seen the failed attempt and we should decline through this support here, but I don't see that taking place. I don't see that deep of a decline to break through this resistance. So my sense is we probably go up higher, fail to break through this resistance right here, 413-ish, and then we turn around and we break down through this 412.50-ish support. It's a good question, Mark. It really is kind of, there's no like standard for that. If there's multiple lowest lows, what it is it's a correlation. It's a strong correlation to the lowest low correlator in multiple places on the timeline. Usually what that indicates is that we'll see the same price level or close to the same price level on multiple occasions on the occasions indicated by the correlations. Sometimes it's more like you'll see a lowest low thus far, and then a lower low thus far, and then a lowest low thus far. Like it'll keep getting lower, but each low will be a lowest low thus far. Sometimes that happens. It's a little tricky, you know. This is partially due to the fact that Eso-Meta is more geared towards pattern, chart pattern behavior rather than price level behavior so much. So it's a little tricky at times, but depending on what cards fall into the readings, sometimes we're able to deduce price levels pretty easily. It is a lot more rare than being able to deduce highs and lows in general. Hopefully that makes sense, Mark. Do I think SPY will open up higher tomorrow? Come on, E-Trade, don't fail me now. Hey, buddy, what you want? You want to come up? Oh yeah, okay. And so then we are probably going higher, and I can see that now because we've got a correlation here at the end of the day to the Knight of Discs, right? So sideways rotation that ends with a fast sudden move higher. So we got this sideways rotation here that should end with a fast sudden move higher. That fast sudden move higher should take us to a failed attempt to break through this resistance here, and then a decline through this support here. So the resistance at like 413-ish. And support at like 412.50-ish, 412.60-ish. And my sense is it's kind of difficult to determine based on the power, or excuse me, as the Emperor card as the relative card for the following open. It's difficult to determine it with just that card because that's establishment of sound support, but it doesn't always mean it's lower support. Sometimes it's higher support. My sense is that we probably see a lower open, though, at least in the pre-market, with a big move higher out of it. Interesting. And then here on the 9th, we should probably see the same resistance highlighted on a multi-day kind of scale. The same resistance highlighted here on the 9th. We should see it again on the 11th. There's a strong possibility of the same resistance there being highlighted on the 11th. It's tricky. If you're looking for a trade, if you're asking because you want to know if you should open up a short position, this ruin's kind of leading me to believe that it's a good idea. And then when you take into account this Princess of Wands at the beginning of the day, which is opportunity to open up a short position in the midst of a rally. If I'm wrong, what that means is if I'm wrong and we open higher tomorrow, excuse me, we'll have a pretty notable decline here, like mid-morning. And then we should have both a low and a high at the end of the day. It's going to be kind of like sidewaysy for the most part. But a deep decline into the low. The high and the low are in close proximity to each other. And you can see that takes place at the end of the day. The science card overall is an important technical price level on a scale bigger than the scale of the reading. So the scale of the reading is a one-day reading. The science card appearing on a one-day reading indicates an important technical price level on the scale of at least a 1-month reading. When we take that into account, Boy, were we early on that drop there. I have a feeling it's probably this right here, like this price level here. 413.80-ish. Maybe just probably 414-ish, right? As support, as resistance. We'll probably see that again tomorrow. Like we probably open lower and then there's a move higher in the pre-market. Taking us to that resistance level, and then we fall from that resistance level probably pretty notably. But there's a lot of back and forth throughout the day. And then we open lower on the 10th, most likely. Interesting. I see the Queen of Wands here and the Queen of Wands here. The Queen of Wands is a type of card that kind of, in some cases, ends up being prolonged. What I mean by that is like, the energy, like if we see the Queen of Wands on the 1 month, the energy probably lasts longer than just a day. It's like one of those cards where that happens a lot. I don't see it though, so. Yeah, you got it. Hey, Space Lover. Space Lover, I said that I might be exiting space in June. I said that in the June reading. That must have been like a slip up in what I was saying. Like I probably was talking faster than I was thinking because I'm not planning on doing that. Maybe you're talking about silver? Well, let's take a look at space. Yeah, I mean, I'm. You might have misunderstood. I might have said something like, "This is a good place to exit for, like, you know, if you open up a long position." But it's on the grand scheme of things, that's not where I'm exiting on a 1 year kind of scale. This is like a big swing trade for me. I'm not looking to exit space. Probably until... It's looking like probably October at this point. October, November, December, but probably October. Somewhere in there. I think we probably see the highest high twice. A lot of price change here in October. A lot of price change. Lot of price change, I think, and it's covering the Ace of Discs. Yeah, I most likely am exiting in October, and there's a lowest low and a highest high correlation both in October. So that's a tricky month. Got to be careful, but that's when I plan to exit. Yes, now that's what I'm talking about. That is what I'm talking about. All right, on our way back now. Hopefully, people were picking it up around the $3 range. I mean, there is an exit in July. July is going to be super bullish. It's going higher, though. There's an exit. Like, you could exit in the end of July for a pretty solid chunk there. There's a lot of bullish behavior going on July into August. But the highest high is not in July, August. The highest high is in October, November, December, to be clear. Yeah, the star card is like really auspicious to see that in the sneak preview spot for July. That's for sure. And matter of fact, I just entered the July photograph like right before this reading. I entered it into the file. Where is it? Did I not put them in? Mark, why do you say that? Why do you think it's a short squeeze in October? I'm curious. Something going. I know you know a lot about Space's events and what in their calendar. There's something really big going on there in the end of October to have the two aces and to have one ace kind of line up right over. You got to understand this Ace of Swords indicates a significant amount of price change and an important resistance level. Usually the Ace of, well, not usually, but very often the Ace of Swords is a top card. It indicates like a highest price level and a resistance. And then it's covering the Ace of Discs. Ace of Discs is the opposite of the Ace of Swords. It's an important resistance level, a lot of price change around a resistance level, and usually that resistance level is a bottom, not always, but to put them one on top of the other saying something pretty substantial. Oh yeah, yeah. Thanks for pointing that out. I didn't think about that. I didn't think about that. That's another thing is that the correlation between the high correlator. For those of you that don't know much about Eso-Meta analysis, these cards going across from left to right are timeline cards. They each represent about 2 weeks of time. You have to give it about 2 weeks of wiggle room because not each card is going to represent 2 weeks exactly. Like the energies aren't going to line up exactly. So with 2 weeks of wiggle room here and there, each card represents 2 weeks of time. And then you have cards like this here, which is a correlation card. Specifically, it's a highest high correlation. So where the relationship between this card and timeline cards takes place on the calendar here, right? This is July, February, March, April, May, June. So where there's a relationship on the timeline cards to this highest high card is where we're able to indicate that there's a highest high for the year. And we're getting that relationship here. But what's interesting is that the highest high and the lowest low correlator, they have a relationship between each other. That usually indicates that the high and the low will be within close time proximity to each other. And it's definitely something that could take place here in October. Interesting. I sort of feel like the high comes before the low. That's kind of the feeling I'm getting, is that the high comes before the low. And then we go back to a high or a higher high on the cusp of November, December. And it looks like early 2024, we have a higher price level than wherever we are in December based on the Princess of Cups being at the end of the year. The final timeline card there is the Princess of Cups. Guys, if you're new and you're interested in following the SPCE trade, this is one of our bigger trades for the year. We have the public versions are up, but we also have a paid version which talks about the best trades that we see. And you can get the paid version. It's a really great way to support the channel, guys. You can subscribe for the SPCE paid version. Here at our website, Tarot for Traders, under our services, Eso-Meta Forecast, and you click on monthly predictions, we have a bunch of different subscriptions, monthly subscriptions that you could subscribe to. You could get one individual if you're just interested in one of these. In this case, we're talking about SPCE, right? So you could subscribe here, especially if you're following the SPCE. This is the best way to get the trade information ahead of time to stay up to date. And really, if you're following SPCE, it's a really, it's a good thing to do for the channel. Or you could subscribe to the 30 days access to all paid, which gives you access to the paid version for all of these. It's just a little bit more well worth the deal. And that's a really great way to support the channel. And since if you're new and you don't know much about the channel, here's some stuff, guys, ways to support the channel. We ask that you follow the rule of karma. That's 5% of the profits that you make from the information on this channel. We ask that you donate it back to one of these charities here, or donate it forward, I should say, to one of these charities here. Keeps the flow of abundance flowing through the universe, and that includes coming full circle back around to the self. And then we ask that you donate 5% of the profits back to the channel. Keeps the channel going here at Cash App, PayPal. We also have Venmo up now, and Wise. Wise, if you're international, this is a really great way to support the channel with the 5%. And then we also put Webull on here, guys. It's not really a 5% thing, but Webull's, if you want a good app to trade, Webull's it's far superior than Robinhood, if you ask me, especially in the amount of time it takes for you to get clearance on your money after you place a trade. It's very difficult to day trade with Robinhood because it takes so long for Robinhood. If you sign up for Webull here, then our investor profit account gets free shares as well as yourself for signing up. And that leaves you at 90% of the profits. Make sure you spend that money out of love. As long as you spend it out of love, the universe is going to send it back to you tenfold. That's the rule of karma for the channel. Unwritten rule of the channel. Really, the intent is that needs to be followed in order for somebody to continue profiting from this information. So it's important to remember to follow that every time you profit, not put it off, because when you put it off, you're falling into scarcity mentality. Oh, I shouldn't do it now because I might not have more later. Oh, I shouldn't do it now. I don't have enough now. That's not abundance mind. Abundance mind is, hey, this person deserves their fair share. Let's send it out there. We're going to get more. It's coming right back around. Thank you so much for what we've received. Waiting for more. That's abundance mind, right? So follow it every time as practice, as a way of maintaining abundance mentality, which attracts more abundance in turn. What we think about, what we focus on, we attract. And I know this to be fact because I use that exact science to manifest the stock market. I'm not predicting it more so as much as it is more so a manifestation. Appreciate it, Conrad. Hey, Carolyn. Altcoin season. I mean, off the top of my head, thinking about what I've done for June and July, it might be July. But I'd have to go look at all of them. Let me see. I think we get a little taste of it in July, but it's a small taste, and then really towards the end of, we get a taste of it in June. It's a small taste. It's like mid-June, maybe mid to late June, but there's a sharp drop off of that. It might be on the cusp here of June, July, and then after that sharp drop, then we get bullish. And there's a significant high in early August, and we move towards the highest high at the end of the year there. It's probably like the end of July and then into August. October's looking pretty bullish. November's looking pretty bullish. Actually, October, November really looks like a Bitcoin season right there. So that's something to be aware of. October, November's looking really bullish. Degens? What do you mean? Yeah, I mean, when you trade the market like you're gambling, you get gambling results. They want you to think it's gambling. They want you to treat it like it's gambling, because when you treat it like it's gambling, then you get gambling results, which is good for the house. In other words, the exchanges. I've been hearing more about this Wall Street bets. Is this something I should start following or what? I try not to follow anything really, because it keeps me impartial, keeps me non-biased. Alright, so I'm gonna just recap real quick before I roll, guys. So there's that failed attempt to break through resistance, followed by a decline, and we didn't go through the support yet, so my sense is that we probably open lower, at least in the pre-market, open lower, and then we move higher out of that lower open. We move higher in the pre-market, possibly even a breakout. There's an important support level highlighted right around the open that can be relied upon, at least at the open it can be. And then there's this rally out of the open, offering opportunity to open up a short position. So let's say I'm wrong and we open higher, and you've opened up a short position here at the close, and I'm wrong and we open higher. I would just maybe wait. Like, I would just sit tight. If not, I'd maybe double down here in the midst of this rally. If we're wrong and we open higher, double down in the midst of this rally, so cost average down, in other words, and then you can get out for a profit at like less of a move when we go into this decline, which should be pretty notable here. This decline. But it's really sidewaysy tomorrow, so you got to be careful. Don't get scared out when we're going against whatever direction you're in, because it's going to do a back and forth, a lot of back and forth. And then at the end of the day, there's a lot of price change. Looks like we go from a high to closing at a low, or well, in any case, midday you could close the short position. Also, opportunity there to open up a long position when you close a short position, and close that long position probably between 1 and 2 o'clock. If not between 1 and 2 o'clock, then you could close it in the last hour. But don't be like hesitant. Like, when you see the opportunity, take it, because there's going to be a pretty big like price swing there at the close, a high and a low both seen. Hey, Robert. You're welcome. Thanks for watching, Conrad. Alright, guys, I'm going to roll. Thanks, as always, for watching, and make sure to follow that rule of karma. It's important to follow that every time, because it's a matter of creating a habit that manifests more abundance. What you got to understand is the present moment is the only moment. So when you put something off, like, I'll do it later, you're basically ensuring that you're going to put it off continuously. That's just the way it goes. Like, to put it off, there's a reason why you're putting off, because you don't have enough now or something like that. And that's the wrong kind of mentality. That will perpetuate more scarcity. So it's important to follow. Make sure to follow the rule of karma. 5% of the profits forward, 5% of the profits backwards. Make sure you spend that money out of love. The universe is not going to allow you to spend that money for negative reasons. It's just not going to happen. It won't. We're guarded from that. But with that said, make sure to spend it out of love, and the universe will send it back to you tenfold from all directions, my friends. I'll see you guys tomorrow.